Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today, we're delving into a deeply chilling story that unfolds in the state of Texas. Viewer discretion is advised as we will be discussing themes of violent crime and capital punishment.
We, the jury, find the defendant Robin Allen Fratta guilty of capital murder as charged in the indictment signed by the foreman.
Background: Robert Fratta was born on November 22, 1957. He pursued a career in public service and became a public safety officer in Missouri City, Texas. However, his life took a dark turn when he was charged with orchestrating the murder of his wife, Farah Fratta, in 1994. But to understand the gravity of this crime, we need to go back and understand the dynamics of their relationship. Robert and Farah were wed in what began as a seemingly happy marriage. Together, they had 3 children, establishing what many would consider to be a typical family unit. However, beneath the surface, their relationship was fraught with difficulties and increasing tension. Accusations of domestic abuse plagued their marriage. Farah bore the brunt of Robert's alleged violent behavior, which reportedly took a toll on her physical and emotional well-being. The couple's marital issues escalated to the point that they found themselves embroiled in a bitter dispute over the custody of their children. Farah took the decisive step to dissolve the marriage, filing for divorce from Robert. This decision, while an attempt to break free from an oppressive and harmful situation, unfortunately set a tragic series of events in motion. The divorce proceedings became a source of intense bitterness and resentment for Robert. Friends and family recall that he was particularly angered by the possibility of losing custody of his children. As the legal battle ensued, the tension between Farah and Robert escalated, casting a dark shadow over the Fratta household. In this challenging and emotionally charged environment, Farah strove to protect her children and maintain a sense of normalcy amidst the chaos. However, Robert, unable to accept a divorce and potential loss of his children, began to harbor a malevolent plan that would have unthinkable consequences for Farah. Little did anyone know that the Fratta family was on the precipice of an unfathomable tragedy: the crime. The tragic end to Farah Fratta's life came on a chilling November day in 1994. As she returned home, Farah was accosted in her own garage and was fatally shot. The shocking crime sent waves of despair through the local community and left her 3 children without a mother. The subsequent investigation took a grim turn as law enforcement began to unravel the details of Farah's death. The trail of evidence led to 2 men, Howard Guidry and Joseph Pristash. Shockingly, these men were not strangers acting on a random impulse. Rather, they were part of a nefarious plot organized by Farah's own estranged husband, Robert Fratta. Investigators discovered that Robert, overwhelmed with rage and resentment stemming from his divorce and the associated custody dispute, had devised a brutal plan. In exchange for a Jeep, he had reportedly hired Guidry and Pristash to murder Farah, effectively eliminating the woman he saw as the obstacle to his access to their children. The prosecution built a compelling case, illustrating how Fratta had meticulously planned the assassination of his wife, enlisting the services of Pristash, who was in turn responsible for recruiting Guidry, the triggerman. This grisly murder-for-hire scheme exposed the chilling lengths to which Robert was willing to go, revealing a level of premeditation and malice that shocked the court. The details of the crime, the careful planning, the cold-blooded execution, and the exchange of a vehicle as payment for a life painted a horrifying picture of Robert's calculated cruelty. As the facts of the case came to light, it was clear that Robert Fratta, Howard Guidry, and Joseph Pristash had callously disregarded the value of Farah's life. The 3 men were convicted for their roles in the crime, and they were all sentenced to death, a judgment that reflected the severity of their actions. Legal proceedings. The legal proceedings following Farah Fratta's murder were a saga in themselves, with the trials and subsequent appeals stretching out over more than 2 decades. Each defendant had separate trials, adding to the complexity and length of the legal process. The trials were marked by a plethora of legal maneuvers, with the defense teams fighting tooth and nail for their clients. Accusations of prosecutorial misconduct, inadequate legal representation, and juror bias were among the numerous arguments put forth in attempts to overturn the convictions. One of the most significant developments in the legal proceedings came in 2007 when Howard Guidry's conviction was overturned by the United States Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit. The court determined that Guidry had received inadequate legal representation during his original trial, a failing that had potentially impacted the verdict. However, this victory for Guidry was short-lived. In 2019, his retrial was concluded, and once again, he was sentenced to death. The jury, having considered the details of the crime and the evidence presented, reaffirmed the original decision. The second death sentence underscored the perceived gravity of Guidry's role in Farah Fratta's murder. The prolonged legal process was undoubtedly agonizing for Farah Fratta's family and friends, as well as for the local community. Each appeal and retrial likely dredged up painful memories, underscoring the lasting impacts of this tragic crime. While the extensive legal proceedings might seem unusually drawn out, they serve as a stark reminder of the seriousness with which the justice system treats capital punishment cases. They also underscore the commitment to ensuring that all defendants receive a fair trial, regardless of the crime they are accused of committing. Execution and final words. Robert Fratta's day of reckoning came on February 15, 2023, when he was executed by lethal injection at the Texas State Penitentiary in Huntsville. A controversial practice, lethal injection is a method of execution adopted by many U.S. states. For some, it is considered a more humane form of capital punishment, although that notion is often contested. As per his rights, Fratta was allowed to make a final statement. In these moments, some condemned inmates express remorse, some reaffirm their innocence, others stay silent, and some even make unexpected pronouncements. However, Fratta's last words were notably devoid of remorse or apology. Instead, he used this moment to declare his perceived injustice, stating, "My conviction was based on 2 rats who got sweet deals." The rats he referred to were his co-defendants, Guidry and Pristash, whose testimonies played a crucial role in his conviction. Whether Fratta's assertion held any grain of truth, his words seemed to reflect a man unwilling to take responsibility for his actions, even in his final moments. Fratta's execution marked the end of a nearly 3-decade-long journey for the family of Farah Fratta in the legal system. There was a palpable sense of relief, especially among Farah's loved ones. Her brother, Lex Bacher, expressed this sentiment, signifying closure to a chapter that had been filled with pain, anguish, and an agonizing wait for justice. However, even with Fratta's execution, the ripple effects of this horrific crime continue. Farah's children, who were left motherless at a young age, have had to grow up under the shadow of their mother's brutal murder and their father's role in it. Friends and relatives bear the scar of losing a loved one in such a tragic manner. The community was also deeply affected, bearing witness to the horrifying potential of domestic violence. As we recount the story of Robert Fratta and the heinous crime he committed, let us remember Farah Fratta and the life she led and the lives she touched. Her loss serves as a grim reminder of the toll domestic violence takes on families and communities. While justice may have been served in this instance, it cannot erase the pain or loss endured by those left behind. It's a stark reminder of the necessity to continue our collective efforts in preventing such tragedies. As we close out today's story, our thoughts go out to all the victims of violent crime and their loved ones. In the face of such tragedies, it's crucial that we promote awareness, kindness, and empathy in our communities. Join us next time as we continue to explore compelling stories from around the world. Stay safe, everyone.